Hi there, and welcome to my video. I'm so happy to have you here today. I'm going to make a mixed media piece from start to finish, and you will see me begin with a blank piece of paper and arrive at a finished product. So I just gathered some materials, some papers and stencils, some paints, and different things that I feel like I might want to use. This is the paper I'm using today, 200-pound mixed media paper. And I'm using some satin finish liquid medium, fluid medium. This is what I use to put down all of my papers because I feel like it's just really reliable and easy to use. So I'm pretty generous when I'm applying it just so that the papers really stick to whatever I am gluing them down to. I don't really get too concerned when the papers bubble a little like that. You can see on the black and white and the pink one. Because eventually when the glue dries, the medium dries, it flattens again. So I'm starting with some bright aqua green, some Payne's gray, and a little titanium white. And my usual way of doing things is just to get some paint down and not worry about how it's looking. Because the wonderful thing about acrylic paints is you can just keep layering them. So I love just kind of playing with the paint on this first go around and not really worry how it comes out. It's this pretty kind of bluish gray color. I'm just adding some water to create some drips and some interest on the paper. And a big part of my process is putting some materials down, but also kind of editing it and pulling them up again. So this is raw umber with some titanium white. I'm just kind of into the real muted colors right now, so I'm choosing not to go really bright with any of these colors. Just moving the brush around, using a little water to create drips again. Just kind of trying to get into the flow of creating, and I'm really not thinking about what it's looking like at this point. I'm just moving the paint around. So if you find yourself a little self-conscious when you're creating, just try to get into the flow of actually what you're doing, enjoying the process. So my next layer, I've recently fallen in love with fluorescent pink and gold mixed together. So it makes this really pretty pink with like a little bit of a shimmer to it. So I'm just adding a little bump of color to the paper. And the paint brush I'm using is like a craft brush. It's nothing special. I don't really buy expensive brushes because I am not really kind to them. And if they get all wonky, I just toss them out and start over. I think I got these at Michael's in a multi-pack. So that dried, and it does look a little lighter when it dries. This is a jelly print that I made on deli paper. So it does come off looking kind of translucent once it's glued down. And again, I'm using the satin medium. If I put it on top, it really helps to blend it into the background. This is another jelly print that I made with a stencil. Just wanted to add a little bump of color. And again, just kind of playing with the papers and different colors and trying to just trust my instinct. What looks good, what feels good, what do I like? And this stencil is something I recently got, and I just love the shape of it. So I'm using a little gold and titanium white. It's like a nice cream color, and trying to create a little bit of an outline of the stencil. Just a very soft outline. And the same thing with this kind of rainbow shape stencil. It felt like it was sitting on top of the page, so I just blotted it a little bit. And here's my fingertip dabber, just making some circles with a little fluorescent pink and titanium white mixed together. And then after all these light colors, the polka dots started to bother me. It felt like they were a little out of place. So I wanted to put a little paint on top to push them into the background a little more. So these are a few mark making tools I like. Definitely Posca paint pens. This is a Stabilo pencil. It's white. It's kind of like a wax pencil. Can write on anything. And then this is the Uniball Signo pen, but it kind of got clogged, I guess, from the paint. So I resorted to my handy dandy Posca paint pen. And just kind of outlining some of the shapes that I like that I want to bring more to the forefront. But I didn't want to use too much color because I wanted it to be pretty subtle. So there's a lot of editing that goes on as I go, just seeing if I like how it looks. Do I want more? Do I want less? Do I want to bring these out a little more? The white outline helps with that. And then this is the focal point that I chose for the piece. It's just a pretty little bluebird on a little branch. And I wanted to start bringing out some of the colors, especially from the jelly prints. It's really easy to just give a little outline to kind of draw them out to the front. And then I thought, you know what? I'm going to use black, bring it even more to the front. But I found the more I used it, the less I liked it. So it's an interesting process. Once I was done with all the hearts and the X's, I realized I didn't like any of it. But I kept going because I thought maybe if I added more, then I would like it better. But what I realized is that I really wanted that kind of pretty muted background. So I took a break from the black and just started adding a little more color. I'm using the Caran d'Ache crayons here, which I really love because you can add a little water to them and then they create these really pretty watercolor effects. So here I'm just trying to bring out some of the objects I see on the paper already, giving them an outline. And then here you can see the watercolor effect. Just a little water. You don't need much. It just has to be damp. And then it just kind of creates a little bit of a glow, which I love. I just wanted to give these little leaves a little bit of color, just almost like they were being highlighted or glowing from within. So after finally admitting that I don't like the black, I just went back over everything in the white Posca paint marker and tried to cover up the black. It's one of the things I try not to be too precious about with my art, is to know that I'm going to go back and forth on some things. I'm not always going to get the first part right. Maybe I'll have to go back and go over it, try again. That's how I create my own style and create artwork that I like. And that's why I paint and why I do mixed media, is to create things that I like. And maybe other people will like too. So I'm just putting down the bluebird here with the satin fluid medium. And I printed this out on my inkjet printer, so I'm just trying to be careful on top not to run the colors. And then I was looking at it, I just felt like I wanted to add one more layer of this kind of cool leaf montage stencil. Just a little outline kind of brings it out in a subtle way, which I just like how it looks. So again, going back over the black, I just couldn't let it go. I really didn't like how it looked. So just put a little paint on it and then decided to be done with it. And here is the sentiment. I did write it in cursive and also in just plain handwriting. This is on the deli paper that I love, and I use it for so much. I'll put a link to it in the description. So here are the details, the finished piece, and that sweet little bluebird with a little halo around it. I really enjoyed making this today. I hope you enjoyed watching it. Here are two more just like it if you did. Thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you again soon.